Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bonfire Race League Premier Cup. That's right, we are live at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. In the booth, I'm Mean Gene Buddy and Zach Panzarella. We've got Buddy Sully in the production booth, and we are proud to bring you Race 2 of the Bonfire League Premier Cup. Zach Panzarella, lead broadcaster, how you feeling this morning, brother?
I am feeling good. I woke up on the right side of the bed. I'm ready to watch some Las Vegas racing here at the Bonfire Racing League. Can't wait to be here for the second race of this new season, the 12th season in this league. So just honored to be here. And I know we got a full field of 31 talented drivers today, so we're in for a treat.
I mean, heck of a field, 31 drivers today. We had 30 last week at Kentucky. And speaking of last week at Kentucky, the coveted, the Puckett 250, the season opener, the Premier Racing League here. And we had a big win. Jared Kelly piloted home to take the coveted Puckett as well. And those crown jewel events are going to be something special here this season. Trophies do go along with those. So Jared Kelly taking that thing home. He was a proud man, Zach.
Yeah, Jared Kelly is super fast. Not surprised to hear that he took the first win. And nothing like getting an actual iRacing trophy. I love those things so much. I have a few in my collection, and they mean the world. They're always fun conversation pieces. And man, congratulations to him. And yeah, it was a great indication of the action that we're in for this season. Close, intense, and very equal. Lots of parity in this league.
Yeah, Jared really happy to take home that win. He was one of the faster guys. He led 28 laps, third most led laps at Kentucky. But big story last week was David Medina. That guy, he led the most laps. He got the pole as well, but caught up in some foolishness, got a pit road penalty on a little bit of confusion of when to pit, when not to pit, and David Medina ends up in 18th place. So that's going to kind of affect Mr. Medina's season chase as he's going 10 races here in that regular season until they come down to that playoff format. 12 drivers, and it's all points, Zach. There's no win and you're in here in the Bonfire Racing League.
Yep, I love that. I love that you have to string together a great consistent season in order to make the playoffs and have a chance at the championship. And yeah, those 18th place finishes when you had an otherwise amazing race will come back to haunt you at times. And really what they also do for you, Mean Gene, is they'll put a chip on your shoulder. So I'll be looking for David Medina to be driving hard today, trying to make up for that misfortune that he had last week. Because when you feel like that you deserve a win, you come back the next week with a vengeance.
Now, Las Vegas, this is actually the place to really come in with a vengeance. 1.5 mile tri-oval intermediate speedway, 20-degree banking in those turns, 9 degrees on the straightaways. And that's going to give us a lot of that super speedway feel. How about drafting here, Zach? You think we're going to see a lot of that draft action?
Oh, yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's going to play a huge role, especially with the size of this field, Mean Gene. 31 cars means it's going to be really hard early in the runs for these guys to get away from each other anytime quick. So I'm thinking like 10, 15 laps per run. We're going to see the draft play a big role. And what that also means is you need to keep your head on a swivel. A 2-car incident can become a 10, 15 car pileup, as we saw last week in the MRL at the same track.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a part of that big wreck. Tire wear also going to be a big issue. I had the opportunity to run a few laps myself. Right about 12 to 15 laps, all of a sudden the handling of this car changes. Especially in turn 3 and 4, that suddenly turns into some foolishness. And I think they put a jump out there, Zach. Isn't there like a bump or a hump coming out of 4?
A jump. Yeah, they essentially did. That thing comes out of nowhere, and it seems to always upset your car at the absolute worst time. Oh, I hate that little bump in 3 and 4. It is so brutal at this track. And yeah, you got to look out for it. And sometimes when you're racing 3 wide or side by side, you don't really have a choice, and you have to just eat that thing and hope that you can keep the car pointed straight. So yeah, there's a lot of scary moments at a track like this, a lot of close racing, and you really have to. I mean, I think we're probably going to use the word super speedway style racing a couple times today.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen, especially 2-3 wide on this thing. Only 1.5 miles around this track, so we're going to see some super speedway moves on an intermediate speedway width track going to be interesting to see exactly how many incidents might come out of this thing. Speaking of incidents, last week, very interesting to see. We did have a few cautions at Kentucky, and your incident leader, Thomas Pierce, came out of that thing with 16 incident points, and Chris Smith coming out of that thing with 12. So a couple of drivers we're going to keep an eye on just to see if those incident points continue or if that was an anomaly. You know, last week also weird stuff. Brandon Shelton, guys really known to be a solid driver. He made the top 15 of the power poll that was released by Bonfire League on Instagram. But Brandon caught up in an early incident, finished 28th out of 30 drivers. David Buell also finishing down at the bottom, and Jason Landry down in 26. So really a surprise to see those guys. You think we might see some comebacks on those fellas this week?
Yeah, but they're going to have to keep their car clean early and really, obviously, the entire race. No fast repairs here, me and Gene. So you really got to be careful. In a track like this, most of the wrecks are pretty rough, pretty violent most of the time. It's a very fast track. So it's hard to beat an incident here and not have damage that severely or ends or affects or ends your race. So that I'm assuming the reason why that they did not get the finishes that they expected last week, and that is something that they're really going to have to look out for because, like we just talked about, you need to string together good finishes in this league to have a chance at the playoffs. So sometimes it is just better to just stay up front the best you can, but not be aggressive and make sure you can have a good points day and have a great season as a whole.
Some drivers that we are expected to continue to have good seasons. How about that Gulf Coast Racing? David Owens third, David Brenner in fourth, Joe Vulpes in eighth. So Gulf Coast making a strong run, and also the FOMA guys. You know, also like to give a big shout out to them. Team FOMA, they are Focum. There you go, Team Focum. Focum, those guys, FOCM, big donation from those guys allowing us to do the broadcast today, Zach. So really excited to be teaming up with Focum Racing. You can see there they got their red wings on. They're faster than Red Bull, especially with some of the results that they put up recently.
Yes, shout out to them. Thank you very, very much for that, making this possible and allowing us to do this week in, week out. Those donations go a long way. So very, very happy about that and excited to watch that team out there. And yeah, when you're looking up for those Red Wings today, lots of good looking race cars on this racetrack. And don't look now, me and Gene, but look who has put down the fastest lap in qualifying so far. Mr. Buddy Solly, the defending MRL Cup Series champion. We know he knows how to drive this car.
Yeah, Buddy out there, and he's fighting through it. Also, you know, Buddy's got that shoulder injury. Ooh, there's somebody qualifying like me right there. So, Buddy, though, you know, he's fighting that injury. He's got that shoulder injury, still waiting to hear back if that's going to be a surgery or not. So, Buddy really powering through this thing, putting on the best show he can for the fans. And that's why we do this for you guys at home. So if you're watching this on YouTube, take this opportunity now to hit subscribe. Go ahead and like this stream. Tell your friends, tell your parents, hey, give your dog a laptop and let them take it out as well. And let's get those likes and subscribes all the way up to keep this thing going and share it with more and more people. That's right. You're watching Bonfire Race League Premier Cup here Sunday live at Las Vegas. We're working through qualifying right now, about to get down for some serious down and dirty racing. Looks like Buddy Sully is going to be a heck of a guy. But remember, those Focum guys, they also qualify late in the run. Right there, look at that David Medina putting up that fourth fastest qualifying time right there. Not a surprise. David Medina victimized last week by that tragedy in the pits, but he's back with a vengeance. Right now, though, look at Jason Landry as well, the Canadian in that 56 Toyota. He's trying to make a move as well, putting up those really fast lap times. Not a surprise, Landry, he was the fastest car in practice. Other cars of note in practice, Mark Dumont with a fast lap, Thomas Pierce, Ricky Mandela, and David Owens. So lots of fast guys in practice, but that doesn't always translate to race speed, does it?
No, especially not here. It really is a track that it's a lot more about racing and how you in your race craft than necessarily is your speed by yourself. You hear me talk about racing the track at a lot of other places. This necessarily isn't one of them as much. You're racing your opponents here. You are trying to make big moves and be responsible. And that's why qualifying is so important. And man, look at the gaps as well, me and Gene. These cars are so close together in terms of lap times, and that is not going to change in the race, though. That's going to be very, very similar. So we're seeing it already. The skill level very equal, and in a track like this, these guys are going to be on top of each other.
Yeah, they'll be on top of each other, and I can't wait to see what happens though around lap 12 to 15 when the tires break off, and then another significant tire break, at least for me when I was driving my Ford around lap 25 or 30. I've heard these cars can make about 45, 46 laps. Ooh, there's somebody having a good time in the pits.
Just doing
So
some
it'll be
lawn care.
yeah, just gotta tighten it up. And so I'm curious exactly what's going to happen at those marks in the run for the cars. Lap 12, lap 15, lap 25, pushing it all the way up to 45 to see just how far they can make it on a gas run. 125 laps here expected at Las Vegas, and we're what, a little bit away from the start of the race, Zach?
Yes, we are. It looks like we're gridding up, and it looks like Buddy Solly did take that pole. Jason Landry is going to be next to him.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, the star of Universal Pictures movie, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, Kevin James.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Don't even need the audio. I mean, I can hear it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that is wild.
So actually, I was wrong. It looks like Jason Landry's on our pole, isn't he? Well, how about that?
That's a comeback from last week, huh?
Yeah, it is. Jason Landry on the pole with David Brenner next to him. David Brenner, such a quick driver, Mean Gene. Raced him a couple days ago. He is so talented. Joseph Volpis in third, David Medina rounding up the fourth place, and then rounding out the top five, so still a really solid qualifying effort, Buddy Solly.
Yep, number 6 going to be Thomas Pierce. 7, Christopher Smurrell. 8, Zach Engel. That is a rookie driver, 976. Zach had a heck of a run last week, too, so expecting more from that rookie. 9th, David Buell. Good to see David Buell back up there. He got T-boned last weekend by that rookie, Gerald Rose, so got to watch out for those 3-digit numbers. 10th place, Marc Dumont. He had that second fastest lap in practice, so we're expecting the French-Canadian to have another great run here today.
Yes. And man, this field just keeps on going and tons of drivers rounding out. We got David Owens, Kevin Kyle, Nick Mills, Matthew Smith, Jared Kelly, Joey Stiers, another driver I just raced for the first time recently. He is extremely fast, Mean Gene. Brennan Shelton and Paul Ferrandi, I believe that is.
Hey, that sounds really good. 21st going to be, it is. 21st going to be Justin White. 22, Justin Malarkey. Dennis Puckett going to start 23rd. Michael Benton, another rookie, the 985. He'll be in 24th. Edward Peltz, the number 7, starting in 25th. Richard Leclerc, going to be 26th. Nate Maurer, welcome back, Nate. Nate's afraid of these next-gen cars, but they're not afraid of him. And so he'll be back in the field with us, and he will be starting 27th. Tommy Fox, 28th. Simon Rodriguez, 29th. Gerald Rose, 30th. And Stephen Neal going to be starting in 31st today.
Yes, I've got a full field, all talented drivers. I have a lot of names sticking out to me, Mean Gene. Zach Engel, like you said, a rookie. I have raced with him before. He is a Truck Series regular over in the MRL. Very talented driver. Edward Peltz, I've actually ran a few other leagues with him as well. He's a very good driver. So a lot of familiar faces for me as well, and I'm excited to see what happens here today with this full field of drivers.
Yeah, 31 drivers here today. We had 30 last week. So the Bonfire Race League continuing to grow under new management. Kevin Kyle taking over as admin that last year, and he's already hard at work, Zach. I love those Instagram posts, and also you can already see a lot of changes going on with our production team as well. So getting better and better. Now's the time to join. Go ahead and reach out. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You can check us out live here on YouTube. But we're about to go green here at Las Vegas for race 2 of the Premier League.
Yes, we are getting ready to go green at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Mean Gene. Bonfire Race League, here we go as Landry will lead us off. Green, green, green. Great jump from Landry to start the race, especially with, as we talked about, Mean Gene. You go off the flag, not the leader on the beginning of these races. So that was a good jump from Landry. But as you can see, the draft already playing a role.
Yeah, these cars side by side racing, going to be interesting. 12 laps is where we're going to see that breakdown. So if you want to make a move, now is the time to do it. That side by side racing can get really difficult. I already see a few cars starting to peek their nose down right now, Zach. But right now, David Brenner going to push his way up there. You can see him side by side trying to make moves with Jason Landry, the Canadian, trying to make up for last week. David Medina, Joe Volpus, Thomas Pierce, Buddy Sully. That's going to be a top six. Hard racing going around after this first lap here in Vegas.
Yes, very, very hard, but smooth racing. We see 2 by 2 pretty much all the way through the field, including our leaders. This is some intense racing, but they are giving each other space in the early on, still trying to learn these cars, get them underneath them, get those tires warmed up, as you still see side by side for the lead between Brenner and Landry.
Really strong racing here early on. You can see all the way back in that field, these guys still trying to make up their mind. Going down below the apron right now, trying to find that speed. Jason Landry, he's on the inside. He's in that 56 car. That last week, that run really hurt Landry in points. There is no win and you're in. It's got to be consistent rides. So Landry, he'd like to start his march forward. Got that car, that 22 car of David Brenner on the outside. This is some really good side-by-side racing by these guys right now, Zach. I just think that shows the wisdom, the patience, and the experience of these guys. Remember, this is the 12th season. These fellas have seen each other a lot, not just here, but in other series as well. But this next-gen cars, they really handle a little bit different. And right now, Jason Landry showing why he's one of the best. Look at the field as it kind of winds out here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, lots of action back there. We got 3 wide in the middle of the field, but as you see Landry take the lead back from Brenner. He did a great job of putting just a little bit of air in the inside of that 22 car to open up the lane he needed to make the pass, and Landry back to the lead, collecting some bonus points for leading laps. Something you need when you didn't have the initial run that you wanted. As you see him starting to try to make some distance with the 22, but like we talked about, me and Gene, that draft playing a big role, and it's really hard to get away from the car behind you.
Yeah, especially when you start to think, how is this going to change in just a few more laps when you're running those tires? 31 cars here. So this thing, as it spreads out, I think lap cars could become an issue very soon. So you've got to make sure that you are in a good position before your tires wear out and before these other cars start to appear. This track also, I heard some of the drivers in practice telling us that it was a little bit warmer than they were accustomed to as they were taking those practice laps throughout the week. So I think the slickness of these cars on these tires could also become a factor. Good side-by-side racing right here, though. Really surprised that we haven't seen more cars at least touch. Lots of respect being shown after last week. They really want to put on a good showing and also get those strong results.
Yeah, I was about to say, props to this field. 31 cars strong, but you wouldn't know by how clean they're keeping it, especially at a fast track like this with such little space and so many lines to choose from. They're making it work, and it's super impressive. And yeah, I mean, Gina, it's 109 degrees on that race surface right now. That is extremely hot for Las Vegas. I mean, well, not for Las Vegas itself, the city, but for this racetrack, that is very, very hot. That makes it very slick, hard to maintain your line, as you're already starting to see, as we're only on lap 8 here, but already you can see cars having trouble hugging the bottom like they were able to earlier in the run. That's only going to get worse as we go on. And like we said, I think around a lap 11, 12 is when these things start to get unpredictable. Loose when they're tight and tight when they're loose.
And looking back into that field, you can see a lot of the guys are starting to want to be in that single file situation. That racing is real fun the first 10 laps of a tire run, but after that, I think you're really going to want to go side by side. Look up ahead, though. You can see a lot of 2 wide and a lot of people trying to poke their nose below. I think it's going to get tight at first and then truck a little bit later. Turn 3 and 4 is where I'm expecting to see the most excitement, though, with that little whoop-de-doo coming out at the end of turn 4. Sends a lot of cars into the grass, myself included. Right there, you can see that one car. He got a little bit under that apron, creating a 3 wide situation. Those 5 cars are having fun.
Yeah, they are. And we're definitely seeing more of the 3-wide situations in 3 and 4, which is interesting. I think that is the more difficult corner, and we have talked about that. But that is where I think we're seeing the most of the passes be completed is we see a little bit of side-by-side action. But a lot of this field, Mean Gene, starting to get single file, starting to probably think about saving their tires. It's so easy to burn up your tires here because it feels so easy early in the run. You can kind of go full throttle a lot of places. You don't have to check up as much, and you feel like you could do anything with the car. But then before you know it, this thing is just nearly undrivable, and you can't figure out why the guys behind you are so much faster than you all of a sudden. It's because they were saving when you weren't. So it seems like some guys in this field already prioritizing that, making sure that they're running the line that they want to for optimal tire saving.
That's going to be a big story here today. Optimal tire saving. 22 laps is exactly where it starts to get really slick. So we can't wait to see how these guys are going to maintain this speed and see exactly what kind of break off that it's going to be. And that's going to be interesting also when we start to see the different tire strategies. But if I'm out there myself, I'm going to try to run as long as I can on those the green flag runs, and then maybe sneak in 4 sets of tires down in the pits. So they should have an extra set unless there is just an amazing amount of cautions. Looking right now, you can see how strong David Medina running. He's making a charge. He's up 1 spot now. He's running in 3rd place. He's in that number 9 car. Medina, victim last week of some pit shenanigans, costing him an opportunity to get the win. But now Medina making that run. Ooh, I think I saw some wiggling right there with Nick Mills.
We got Brenner and Pierre's going very, very hard right now. Pierre's was able to, is that how you say it? Pierre's was able to tonight. He's from Canada, so I'm going to assume it's nice in French. So I'm going to put a little French twang on it. But he had the lead for a couple laps there, made a beautiful pass, but just like that, Brenner's like, nah, I want it back. And Brenner made a great pass on the inside to take back the lead. And now here comes David Medina to the outside of Pierre's, looking for 2nd place. Medina has been buying his time early in this run, and looks like he still has a lot of tire underneath that number 9 car, setting his sights, looking to capture 1st place from Brenner after this. But David Brenner, he is also a guy who knows how to save tires. He is very, very disciplined. That probably, I mean, like, or a lot of times with him, when you see him lose the lead like he did a little bit ago, he is totally fine with that, buying his time to strike again. But here goes Medina to the inside.
Yeah, great strong move right there by the number 9. You can see him getting under the 22 right there on that moment, looking for his opportunity to take the pass. Pierre's not going to go away. That's going to put a sandwich that puts David Brenner right in the middle. Great pass, and now David Medina is going to take the lead. Jason Landry also starting to poke his nose into this, the Canadian running up in that 56 Toyota. He wants to be a part of the party as well. You know, it's a party and everybody's invited. Right now, look how tight they are all the way back. One little wiggle, Zach, as these tires start to wear out. I think we could have some interesting moments here at Vegas.
Oh, absolutely. We have to start looking out for that, as we are in the danger zone of this run in terms of how these guys are probably feeling with their tires. That's also why I think we're seeing them kind of pick and choose their moves now, not as much side-by-side constant racing, kind of isolated passes that they're making happen in 1 to 2 turns. As you see, Pierre is trying to line up Brenner here. Brenner falling off a little bit more than we expected, as now Medina is starting to put probably the biggest lead we've seen all day, gapping a little bit, getting a nice little, looks like about 3-4 car length lead there to try to put some distance on the field here. And what he would love to see is that 46 and the 22 get side by side and slow each other down a little bit.
Yeah, nothing better than side-by-side drafting to slow cars down and help you make yourself come into that picture. Lots of other action on the track as well. These battles in between, in the back of the field, also causing some excitement.
Big boost moment there, yeah.
Yeah, somebody wanted to do a Tokyo drift.
Yes, they did. Looks like Nick Mills got a little bit loose there. Nice gather up. Didn't lose too many spots, and it kept it on the track entirely, I believe. Only went down to the apron. But nonetheless, this is, like we said, Mean Gene, the danger zone. These, oh my gosh, another car to the bottom of the apron, gathering it up. Yeah, these things are becoming undrivable, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. You can see Dumont, he's coming out of 4. He hits that bump, and it just sends him down, wiggling. And it's going to take that guy another half a lap just to get his nerves calmed down. And then it's going to take who knows even how much further to get the tires cooled back off. Amazing how quickly that will happen to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, when you put some heat in those tires, it takes laps to cool them off, especially when the track is over 100 degrees like it is today. You really, really need to be patient because the tires are going to be steaming hot after an incident like that. And they become really unpredictable as, oh my goodness, Pierre's to the inside there. Pierre's getting very, very loose out of 4, losing a few spots. I think it's only a matter of time until someone goes around here. Me and Gene, we are having moment after moment here, and it doesn't matter where in the field you are. The cars are just very, very loose on the exits of the corners.
Yeah, we're getting to that moment now where difficulty is going to start to arise on these tires, but these guys are going to try to push it. I talked to some of the drivers before the race, and they're talking about pushing all the way to that 45, 44 lap mark on fuel, and so tires are just going to have to take a back seat. I mean, let's face it, if you're just doing a 32-second lap, why would you want to risk coming in for that extended pit stop to get the fresh tires? I don't think that there's a big enough window on that 40-lap green flag to make up those tires.
No, you're totally right. You would absolutely go a lap down, and you just cannot afford that because if someone else does that same strategy as you and you end up behind them, yeah, you're not going to get that lap back. If there is a caution, that could ruin your whole race. So you do have to just be at the mercy of the tires and stay out as long as the majority of the field does. And if they're going to try to stretch us out all the way to 44, then so be it. You're going to have to find a way to do it. So when you have those incidents, when you have those moments, you got to really gather the car back up, get it back beneath you, and not let those incidents pile up because these tires will go away from you in a hurry, and the life doesn't come back to you, Mean Gene. Once it's gone, that part of the tire's life is gone.
Yeah, and then sometimes you just become a victim on a ride as that car starts to try to go around or go inside into that grass. Really amazed, though, to see how well these guys are keeping these things on all 4 tires. Really good racing right there. As you can see, the 12 was leading them around. That is Dennis trying to do his best to keep these guys on the straight and narrow. And right there's a perfect opportunity. You can see Dennis Puckett.
Yeah, it is a really, really interesting time right now as well. And you are starting to see some separation. The middle of the pack definitely still pretty crowded and intense over there. But we are starting to see it goes all the way down 8 seconds back in this field down to around like where the 20s are. But I cannot say enough, like you said, about how clean these guys are keeping it. 31 cars out here at a track like this, and they are still so clean, so close, and no one entirely around yet. We've seen moments, but nothing big yet. And I mean, there's a chance we're going to see some green flag pit stops, and that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a great place to make up some time as well. You know, when your tires are that worn out and you're coming around 3 and 4 underneath that apron, it is another opportunity for you to lose control of the car, maybe come back up onto the track out of turn 4, or maybe slam right into the interior wall. Yeah, speaking of big moments, right there you can see just how interesting it is and how slick it can be out here on these tracks.
Yeah, and that 46 at Pierre's, we talked about the tail end of a run if you do not take care of your stuff, and this is what it looks like, Mean Gene. Look at how quickly that 46 is falling down the field right now. He is stuck to the top of the racetrack, and I think it's because that thing just will not or doesn't have enough turn in anymore to get to the bottom, and I think it's too loose on the exits when he goes to the bottom. Look how he's seems like committed to the top now, and that's just not where the speed seems to be. Pierre is having a hard time getting through this run, just needs to get through these next about 20 laps or go for a caution because those tires are RIP.
You could see Pierre's with a little bit of touchy right there, starting to get loose. We're on lap 26. So this is that second break off I was talking about, Zach. That first one came around 12 to 15, and then that second break on these tires is right here around 26. So I think we're going to start seeing some significantly slower lap times. And if anybody's trying to make a pass right now, one guy could plow, one guy could get tight, and it could be a really interesting show.
Yeah, it really could. As you see, going through the field right now, looking at all the different battles, I've seen a lot of single file. A lot of guys now actually are starting to race the racetrack like we talked about. Not so much opponents. Oh, as we see a car extremely loose up there in front of Pierre's. Man, that was mid-corner through 3 and 4. It's getting so sketchy out here, Mean Gene. I cannot believe no one's gone around yet. Yep. Good eye, buddy. Solly, our producer. Finding that number 5 car. Very, very impressive. Very impressive gather up, but that was a big moment. We're seeing that all over the track right now. It's going to be, it's only a matter of time, I think so. Or I think, Mean Gene, I don't think we're going to get those green flag pit stops we want because, man, I admire these guys for keeping it straight so far, but it is with the combination of the temperature of the racetrack and the age of these tires, these guys have their hands full.
Yeah, not enough can be said right now about what they're doing out there on the track. Really smooth driving, lap 29, yet to see a caution. We have seen some individuals have some hairy moments, but other than that, this track is really starting to spread out now, as well as you can see the gap expanding between lots of the drivers. 31 guys out here on this track, and now good side by side right there with the 7 and the 12. Tight racing. You can see the 96 coming up in there as well. So these guys trying to make moves on each other, even under these worn out tires. Look at that inside right there. You can see Puckett trying to hold it.
Yep, and I'm seeing these guys get so close to the outside wall, specifically on the exit of 4. They are really having a hard time keeping it below the wall there. It is getting really, really close. But it's not stopping a lot of these guys. This is also a great time to make forward progress as we're looking at Edward Peltz right now. He's been making some good forward progress through the field all the way up to 25th. Started a little bit lower than that, I believe. So Peltz doing a good job. And I do also believe, me, Gene, like you talked about, we could start seeing cars get lapped if this run goes on, as the leaders are starting to get closer to the tail end of the field here. And this we are seeing race cars essentially all over the racetrack now from top to bottom.
Yeah, no doubt we're going to see some lap cars if this thing continues to go green. Some of the more veteran drivers, you can see Medina, Landry, and Brenner especially just starting to eat this track up. Jared Kelly. Oh, and Puckett gets loose contact with Peltz. Oh, my, they're in the infield spinning.
Just as we were talking about Peltz and Puckett, we get a big moment. And look at that. Wow. Oh, boy. I don't think that's going to be a caution, Eugene, because it's off the racing surface. I think that should be, but it's not. We're going to stay green, aren't we?
Wow. That's exactly what we were talking about. One guy gets tight, one guy plows. They get together. Both cars still moving. No caution here at Bonfire Race League. We let the computer do most of the caution waving, and so I think the computer decided to just let it keep on going, and we're going to stay green here.
Yeah, I believe them not calculating below that apron, Eugene, as part of the racing surface, because that car was absolutely sideways. As you can see below Owens, they're still trying to gather it back up. I believe that's Peltz. But yeah, no caution there nonetheless. A crippling incident for both drivers involved, especially when you don't get that caution to bunch the field back up. Now we're definitely going to probably see some cars get lapped, specifically those two. As we already see them bringing them into the pits. I believe that is Peltz bringing in the pits. Wanting to probably put a fresh set of tires, because what that will also do when it's Puckett bringing in the pits, I'm sorry. What that will also do when you have those incidents, Mean Gene, is sliding through the grass or through the asphalt like that will just destroy the tires. It will flat spot them and truly make the car undrivable. So you might as well, right? You might as well throw a fresh set on them.
Yeah, no need to extend your misery. If you know that the car is gone and you've already had that hair racing experience, bring it on into the pits, get your 4 fresh ones, and just try again. The way this thing is going right now, I find it hard to believe that we're not going to see that caution come out soon, but risking going a lap down, pitting under green is a whole lot better than crashing your car. No fast repairs here today. So one bad incident, and that's the end of your afternoon, and you're off to watch some playoff football early.
Yes, you are. Exactly. You really, really got to protect your car here. And you know who I have my eye on, me and Gene? Look at who's in second place right now. Third place. Jared Kelly is up 14 spots from where he started. Jared Kelly clearly has done a very good job of protecting his tires, and check him out. What a run he's having. Last week's winner showing the same speed this week and a very similar track. This is probably just, I think some people would consider a less technical Kentucky. So not surprising to see him with this type of speed, but Jared Kelly, clearly someone to look for if we get more of these long runs.
Yeah, Jared really making it work out there today. Last week's winner continuing his onslaught on this Bonfire Race League field. Got to get by the Canadian of Landry. Landry, big chip on his shoulder after last week's incidents. So he's going to continue to try to lay down the hammer. And Medina as well after his pit stop fiasco. So Kelly, yeah, he had that great run last week, and he is moving forward, hard charger, but he's going to have a heck of a time once he gets up to Medina and Landry to try to get by them. And, you know, he's also got that 22 in his window right now. So plenty of things for him to think about. David Brenner, driving of that 22 out of Pensacola, Florida, definitely wanting to do it. Oh, a little bit of excitement in the back. I see the 855 driving through the grass. Guess he wants to do a little bit of lawn care. That's one of our rookies.
Yep, looks like Cheryl Rose doing a little bit of lawn care. I mean, that's very appreciated. We need that. This is a track that does not have AstroTurf, so we do need some good grass care. So that's just really nice of Rose right there.
He only did the edge. Do you think that was like a warning that if they don't get that taken care of, he might do more next time?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that was. And that was just responsible driving is all that is. And also no harm, no foul. Didn't even seem to lose too much momentum, gathered it back up. No damage going through the grass on iRacing 9 times out of 10. So looks like he's going to keep it going. And if we're talking about, or since we're talking about some Davids, one on the other end of, I don't want to say not impressed, but I'm going to say just surprised, David Owens, chilling in 9th place right now, me and Gene. Someone that I know likes this track, has been faster in the past. We know is good in a next-gen car. And we've seen him race around this field specifically, a lot of these guys, and just a little bit further back in the field than I would have initially expected.
Well, I think David Owens, he's known for that hard charging style. This might just be a display of Owens, of the patience that you would expect from somebody with as many starts as him. His teammate, Joe Volpus, running back in 22nd. So perhaps it's just these guys putting on a show of patience. David Brenner, third member of Gulf Coast Racing, running up in 4th. So a lot of different strategies or just ability here at Las Vegas being shown by Gulf Coast Racing at the moment. But yeah, David Owens, 9th. He's still in the top 10, still in striking distance, unless there's no cautions. And then all of a sudden, this spreading out of the field could really come to haunt you.
Yeah, it could. And you're right, though. This is the first run. And oftentimes, I can tell you, someone who races against Owens all the time, he teases you because you see him, in 9th, 10th place. You're like, oh, wow, maybe I have a chance today. And then by the time it's the third run, he's figured it out. He's in the top 3. But let's look at what lap it is, Gene. It's lap 42, and I am seeing the radios light up, which tells me that these guys are getting ready to pit. I saw Pierre's light up the radio. I'm assuming he's one of the guys in there. I'm sure Pierre's, out of a lot of the guys in this field, is one of the guys who is most eager to get those tires the hell off his car.
Yeah, he had an incident back there early. Here's Joe Volpus. He's coming out of the pits. Looks like he's trying the old short pit strategy, and that might be the way to go after as many green flags as we've seen. That short pit's going to let him get on his own strategy. Here comes David Owens. So it looks like Gulf Coast is talking to each other on the radio as we're seeing them pitting a little bit earlier than the Fokum guys. So we'll see how that works out. Here's Justin Malarkey, another top 15 driver from the Power Poll released earlier in the week on our Instagram account. Justin Malarkey, pilot of the 73 Ford.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting for Gulf Coast. Usually a team that likes to stretch fuel runs as long as they possibly can. But you're right. By coming in early, you definitely, especially with how long this run has gone and no cautions, you're going to get some spots. Undeniably, you're going to get some spots if you come in earlier than a lot of the field. I think we saw Volpus was running in 20 seconds. So if we get through this green flag cycle, I'll be very curious to see where he cycles out. My guess, Gene, it could be somewhere as close as like 15th or 16th, I can imagine. So we'll be looking at Owens and Volpus to see how that works out for them, as we still have a lot of cars, faster cars specifically, staying out so far, wanting to not end up on the wrong side of this pit strategy, end up a lap down and lose their race early, or lose control of the race early. Can't blame them, but like we said, by staying out, while you will get some of that speed back on the tail end of the run, you could lose some track position by being on much, much slower tires than the rest of the field. So very curious to see how this cycles out. But so far, everyone doing an exceptional job of getting into the pits clean under green. It is not as easy as it looks, not even close to easy.
No, turn 3 and 4 is definitely going to be a factor all day long, whether it's on slick tires or it's trying to maintain control of your car to come into the pits under green. Speaking of coming into the pit, somebody that's not worried about it right now, your leader, Jason Landry, he and Jared Kelly out there still putting down hard laps without coming into the pits. Oh, a little bit of excitement there, but I think he's coming down now.
Yep, here comes Landry and here comes Kelly, and I believe that smoke may have been from them locking it up with an aggressive pit entry. Impressive nonetheless. No harm, no foul. Those tires are coming off. You might as well destroy what's left of them. But this is going to be a big moment in the race. No mistakes here. is all you got to focus on. Just get this clean. Don't have a moment like Medina had last week where you lose your race in the pits.
Yeah, pit strategy definitely, especially under green. The pit strategy is don't speed, come in clean, find your stall, in and out. Don't have those big problems. Lots of activity down in the pits right now, and looks like right now the next guy needing to pit's going to be Buddy Sully, and he and Ricky Mandela are going to be coming on down. David Buell, Brandon Shelton, there's Showboat. I'm sorry, Jared Kelly Showboat. Brandy Shelton coming down as well. That's another Folcom guy, though, out of Maryland.
Yep. And you see Buddy Sully lighting up the radio, so I'm assuming he's going to come in this time. Buddy Sully, like we talked about before the race, dealing with that shoulder injury. I will say, Mean Gene, this is a great track. Not like, any track is comfortable with a shoulder injury, but this isn't one of the more physically demanding ones. Like, I'm thinking like a Darlington or a Bristol. If I had a shoulder injury at a track like that, oh, God, I don't even know if I'd want to do it. But Buddy Sully fighting through that pain at a track where I think it's probably more manageable than some other ones. Probably still not in a pleasurable situation, but it's not affecting his speed. Buddy Sully leading a few laps there and having a clean pit stop, as now we see Justin White will likely inherit the lead. Actually, he's going to come in here and pit. Probably will still get to lead a lap as he crosses the start-finish line in the pits. And Jason Landry doing a great job. It looks like he's going to blend back around and maintain the lead of this race, Mean Gene.
Yeah, really good running right now. Interesting, earlier we did see the early pit, that short pit of Joe Volpes. He was running back in 18th, and suddenly now I've seen him make his way up into 10th on my standings. So that early pit by Joe Volpes seems to pay off. Let's see how long, though, those tires last him, especially if they're trying to push this thing 45, 46 laps like we've seen here today.
Yeah, that's going to have to be something we pay really, really close attention to. Yeah, and I predicted 15th and 16th, and I thought I was being generous with that prediction, Mean Gene, and he comes out 9th. So a net gain of 12 spots there from Joe Volpes by pitting early. So you're right. We're going to have to look very, very closely, or watch very closely. He came in, I'm looking at pit lap, 6 laps earlier than a lot of the cars around him. So that is dramatic. And David Owens, who came in 2 laps after him, was able to go from 10th to 6th. So both of them with some nice net gains there. Kevin Kyle also with an early pit stop. He pit on lap 40. Kevin Kyle now in 5th place. So those cars, Kevin Kyle, David Owens, and Joseph Volpes, definitely are cars who pit the earliest, definitely benefited from it. Those are some huge deltas in terms of lap times with 40 laps on those tires versus 0. Go figure. And they are definitely enjoying the benefits of that right now, but it's going to be very, very interesting if this run goes as long as that first one did. But Mean Gene, if it doesn't, with those 4 sets in the pits, so now 3 sets left and only under 100 to go, you might as well throw another set on, right? If we get a caution.
I would. As soon as I see the opportunity to take tires and not lose an additional 15 seconds, I know I'd put some new tires on these things. That wear just becomes such an issue, and the threat of crash even more so. So why not take that opportunity? But under these green flag situations, there's just not a lot that you can do out there.
No, you're right. I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of the field and what happens. And now that we went in a full green flag pit stop or for green flag run and have put new tires on it and cycled through a full set of pit stops, look how spread out this field is. And what a spread out field typically means, Mean Gene, is less opportunities for accidents, less bunched up cars, a lot of cars just running by themselves. In a track like this, that's not easy, but easier, and self spins are less frequent than other tracks. We could very well go green this entire race, which would just be so impressive. I mean, just already to be 54 laps in and have no yellow flags is so impressive. But now, with how spread out this field is, there are not that many side-by-side groups left. We could stay green for a while.
Could be. I'm wondering, I see a lot of positions have changed out there. It makes me wonder if we had some pit stop penalties. I see Edward Peltz is pushed back into the 26th spot. Thomas Pierce back into 27th. Those were guys I saw running up a little bit stronger in the field. To see them running a little bit farther back now makes me wonder exactly what happened that might have pushed those guys back into those positions.
Peltz still recovering from that incident with, I believe it was with Puckett earlier. But doing a good job recovering. We don't know how much damage that car of Peltz has, but doing a good job minimizing it on the lead lap nonetheless. There are a few cars who are a lap down now, and I do believe a few of those were results of pit road mistakes or damage that's occurred but not brought out cautions. But yeah, you are right. The field has definitely mixed up a good amount. But one thing that hasn't changed, and I'm starting to really notice, Gene, that lead that Jason Landry has. We talked a lot about how it's kind of hard to stretch out a lead here. I guess not if you're a Canadian named Jason Landry. You can get yourself a 4-second lead at Las Vegas.
Maybe it's the fact that he's in a Toyota. I'm looking at the top 5. It says Toyota, Ford Toyota. Heck, the first Chevrolet I'm seeing on this thing is the 12th place of Paul Ferdiani.
Yep. And then I apologize. It's actually Medina is actually right there with Landry, but it appears that they have a 4-second lead on Brenner. So those two have really checked on the rest of the field, and they are dealing with a lot of lap traffic now. And we talked about this becoming an issue, and wow, this is gotta be so frustrating. And look how intense this is getting. Wow.
Yeah, lots of traffic. We talked about that earlier. If it's going to stay green the whole time, that those lower cars are going to come into the picture. And then not only you're worried about a slower car, they're slower for reasons because they can't handle the tires. You go 2 wide, 3 wide with some of these guys, you could end up in the wall really fast. So far, though, everybody making their way around. Got to be impressed by what they're done. Lap 57, the way that it went, we've got another 38 laps on these tires, Zach.
Yes, we do. And you can see the cars they're lapping, like Gerald Rose, Edward Peltz, lighting up the radio to tell the leaders, I'm assuming, where do you want me? Do you want me to go high? Do you want me to go low? And that is all you can ask of a lap car, and it's always extremely appreciated. Just have that communication. What is the one thing you can ask out of a lap car, or that you want to ask of a lap car, Gene? It's for them to be predictable. Just be predictable. Don't switch lines on me. Make it obvious what line you're going to take so I can just work around you. You don't need to move away. You don't need to move over for me. Just make it easy for me.
And they're still having their races. I'm watching Peltz and Rose right now. They're just kind of going back and forth with each other. Even though these guys are a lap down, they're battling. Rose just passed Peltz, and now Peltz going to take him back. So even though you're way down, you still want to be a part of the race and find who is around you that you might be able to race for position. Really funny to watch these guys out here today, and really respectful, like you said, getting on the radio and giving people a shout out to not become a moving roadblock. Good work by these rookie drivers.
Yeah, hey, they are just as entitled to race as anyone else is, including the leaders. No one gets any special privileges. So while it could be frustrating for the lead lap cars, it's not their job to not race each other, right? They're here to race too. So, hey, you got to work around it. You got to make do with what you have. But man, this is some great stuff we're seeing between Landry and Medina. These guys are putting on a show for us, and it's going to be so interesting to see which one of these two can get the advantage. And I really think it might come down to things like pitting and strategy, tire saving, but really a lot of execution on pit road, especially if we stay green. And look at this with these lappers side by side in front of our leaders, Eugene.
It's a moving roadblock. You got to pay the toll. You got to pay the cheese tax if you want to get through there. That might be the gap. The thing, though, that the 2 leaders, they've got a 5-second lead over the 3rd and 4th place cars of Jared Kelly and David Brenner. So maybe this will give Brenner and Kelly the opportunity to close that gap. But right now, looking at what Landry and Medina are doing, they're just putting on a show, trying to battle. It's a 2-man race, and the other 29 guys are just watching.
And Joey Steyer's there, one of the cars that I honestly made a mistake there. I thought he was in the lead lap with them. Joey Steyer's going a lap down. Joey Steyer's won the MRL race, our brother league, last week at... Where were we? I'm already forgetting. Oh, we were at Charlotte. So a track that's pretty similar to this one, a little bit more technical version of Vegas, I would call it, and definitely tighter. But really surprising to me to see Joey Steyer struggling the way he is. I'm assuming he had an incident earlier, but that is why. Look at him going to the inside of the 2nd place car. That's why you're seeing Joey Steyers do this. He's a fast car, Gene. He wants that lap back. He doesn't want to be a lap down, and I don't think he feels like he should be.
No, it's got to feel good, though, as far as where he is. If we do get that caution to come out, he would be the recipient of the lucky dog, and that would put him right back into this thing, especially at the lap speeds he's laying down, Zach. I mean, he's a guy that could be right in the middle of it for a top 10 if he could just make his way back into that lead lap, and that's definitely what he's doing. Joey Steyers, he's out there in the Green Mean Machine.
Yeah, the Green Mean Machine. Yes, sir, he is. I like that car. Looks good. He always runs that Bubba Wallace font, which is just such a good-looking font. I love that thing. And look at this intense race that we got on screen here. Is Nate Maurer. Yeah, Maurer. Sorry about that, Nate. Look into the inside there, and that is probably our most bunched up part of the field right here. As we got some 3-wide action. Oh, it is so sketchy over there, Mean Gene.
Yeah, definitely don't where you want to be. You can see that slower car, that 855. He hugs the apron. Gonna let this group of cars go on by. That's smart driving by the guy that's not up to race speed. And that lets that pack go by. But that did get nervous there for just a minute. But good piloting, Nate Maurer, that 971. Again, he took a break from the next-gen cars, but he's back out here making his battle, trying to put his name back into the league.
Yeah, Nate Maurer is someone I've had the pleasure of sharing the track with in numerous cars. I've raced against him in Xfinity and trucks. Super talented driver. Not surprised to see him working his way through the field with relative ease. Up 14 spots from where he started the race today. Super good run for Maurer so far. As our leaders are continuing to put a nice gap on this field, as Jason Landry has now opened up a big lead, it looks like, to Medina. Oh, no. My intervals are just all messed up sometimes, but they still have that 5-second lead back to Jared Kelly. I'm going to be watching Jared Kelly's times as this run goes on, because remember last run, Jared Kelly made his way through the field to get to that third place, this time getting to start in third, but still having that 5-second gap. But will that gap get smaller as we get late in this run?
Yeah, Jared Kelly is pulling a little bit away from Brenner, so that makes you wonder, is Brenner having a little bit of a dip in his speed, or has Kelly managed to find a little bit extra rubber in those tires? Still tight racing, as you can see it, but really looking up front, it's Medina chasing down Landry, waiting for the hiccup. But Jason Landry, he's got something to prove here today. I mean, he is the top Canadian right now out on that track. He's racing for a whole country out there, and right now he's doing him proud.
Yeah, with Pierre's, who seemed to have had some incidents, he is now finding himself a lap down in 24th as Pierre's. So the only guy representing our Canadians in the top 10 is Jason Landry. So he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders right now, doesn't he? And then another quick update. Let's give, since we are now on lap 69, nice. Let's give a quick update on our guys who pit a little bit earlier than the others. So Owens, Kyle, and Vulpes. Owens and Kyle are now in 6th and 7th, so they've only lost 1 and 2 spots respectively. Not bad there, but Vulpes now finds himself all the way in 17th, Mean Gene. This is almost to where for Vulpes it will be a net loss. He has 5 more spots, and he is only the second car on the lead lap, or left on the lead lap in terms of where the leaders are. So next up would be Stiers and then Vulpes. So Vulpes, this strategy, while he does, I think, find himself quite a bit ahead of our leaders. Yes, he does. He's good there. He needs to hold on. It looks like he is struggling with these tires potentially a little bit more than guys like Owens and Kyle are.
Yeah, well, he was the first one to come in. 2 more laps of wear on those tires than his Gulf Coast teammate, Owens.
And we are side by side for the lead, Mean Gene.
That was a move.
Look, yes, it was. And Medina to the inside, and USA to the lead, faster than the Canadian of Jason Landry. Landry did a great job holding that lead, and I'm wondering how much of his tires potentially got given up holding off those lap cars or passing those lap cars. And when I say holding off, look who's in front of them now, Mean Gene. Joey Stiers did get that lap back the hard way.
Wow.
So that, yeah, definitely a big moment for him.
Yeah, I did run by that 23. And while those 2 guys were battling, you might think, oh, they're going to lose some space. Not at all. They actually improved the gap that they had over the third place of Jared Kelly. Well, and now Kelly fighting back. So interesting to see as these guys continue to battle. But new leader out there, David Medina, taking over the lead. He's got a lot to prove after that fiasco in the pits last week, and right now he is laying down hot laps. We are on lap 71, probably about another 12 laps until we're going to see these guys come in if they try to push it. What do you think? Are you comfortable with what happened last time, Zach? Would you go ahead and push it all the way to another 46 lap run on green?
It's, in my opinion, Mean Gene, it's not about that anymore. It's about making it to the end of the race on 1 more pit stop, or on this being your last pit stop. So let's do some quick math without me hopefully embarrassing myself too bad. We're about to go to lap 75 to 25, so it's a 125. So that means there's 50 laps left. So you want to make it, what, 6-7 more laps so you can comfortably make it on fuel. That is when I think we're going to see the pits get extremely crowded all at once, because there is not a reason to be out there for a second longer than you have to be. Granted, you're still going to have 2 extra sets in the pits if we do get a caution. So right when you're in that fuel window, right when you can make it to the end of the race, get those tires off your car and get some fresh ones on them. So I'd be looking at about 5-6 laps, Mean Gene. I think we're about to see pit road get real busy.
No, that's some good backward counting.
Oh, I did my best. And hopefully I was
that's
right.
what they're doing, right? I mean, that's basically where you are now, and you just got to figure out how many laps, because at this point, no cautions yet. Clean race, lap 74. You just got to think, my word, will there be a caution? We've spread out. We know that the stage breaks and the restarts is where all the incidents occurs. Well, we're well past that. We're just running wide open here, 75, 70 laps into this thing. It might just be wide open, and if so, you got to count backwards, and then you just hope I can do 340-plus lap runs on these tires.
Exactly, and one thing that you hear me talk about a lot, especially in these green flag races, these ones that are very heavy on green flags, is the vibe of the race. That's kind of how you that's kind of what you let guide your decision making as the race goes on. And we've been saying it all race, and it's clear as day at this point. The vibe of the race is this is a very respectful field, and they're doing a great job staying green. So you can't make assumptions that they're going to get that yellow. Why would you assume that? We haven't gotten it yet. I mean, we're far, far past the halfway point of this race. So you have to assume that you're going to stay green for the rest of the way. So you have to let that guide your decision making, which again, to me would mean get those tires off the car the second you can, to try to take advantage of what we saw guys like Volpus and Owens be able to take advantage of early in that run. And honestly, at that point, you are probably hoping for a yellow unless your name is Medina or Landry.
Yeah, those fellas trying to just check out and make it happen. David Medina, strong run. Getting ready to come in for some pits in the next few laps, but for now, these guys just hard charging around this track. I'll tell you what, while we got a opportunity, I want to go ahead and again, big thank you out to Team Fulcrum for their sponsorship of this race and this broadcast. Could not make it happen without the assistance of those guys. So thank you so much, guys, for making this happen. Another thing I'd like to do, let's go ahead and run down our rookie list. I'm curious just to see from the top where our rookies end up riding. I think we've got some hard chargers out there. Top rookie right now, what is that? Ricky Mandela Sr.
That's an awesome name.
It is, running that 995. He's out of Independence, Louisiana, and I guarantee he gonna ride that car as hard as he can.
Yep, and whenever Mandela does something, like when he gets his first win inevitably, or when something like that happens, we're definitely going to say the Mandela effect. That's going to be his catchphrase.
Ooh, all
Can't
right,
wait for that.
There we go. There's the 975 Zach Engel. He had a good run last week. Really good moments at Kentucky. So Engel right now putting on a show. He is running in 14th place. Love seeing the rookies put on that clean race, and also really competitive. And he's a Wisconsin driver.
Engel, a great driver, someone who I have shared the track with many a time. He's a lot of fun, very clean, typically good at these type of tracks. So not super surprised to see Engel running where he is. And he's a sponge. He learns very quickly. He's someone that I've watched improve quite a bit over the years. So it's going to be fun to watch him develop in this league.
All right. It was quick, but there is Richard Leclerc.
Ooh,
he is our French-Canadian. He's up in 25th, putting on a good show. He is, one lap down, I believe?
Yeah, and thanks to him, Charles Leclerc's brother, I'm assuming. So taking time out of his busy schedule to hang out with us.
Well, if that's Charles
awesome.
Leclerc's brother, then Zach is definitely Kurt's brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's true. It's damn true.
There's another rookie, the 855, Gerald Rose. He is running 26th place after his massive 30th position qualifying. So, he's got to be happy up there, 4 spots up over where he qualified. Good for him.
Yeah, and he's keeping it clean. We saw that earlier incident, but has since kept it clean, doing a great job in that gorgeous paint scheme. I love that blue Pennzoil paint scheme. We won't mention who it's probably modeled after, but I just love that paint scheme. It looks great.
Mm-hmm. Three time. Hey, Stephen Neal. It's Stephen Neal right there. And I could only say a 3. The cat was coming at me angrily. 9:45 is Stephen Neal. That's our Texas rookie. He's running strong out there today as well. 27th place. Charging up hard, though. I imagine he's on the same lap as Rose. Wouldn't be surprised to see those two dueling very soon.
Yep, Steve Neal, another guy I've shared the track with a lot over in MRL. Steve Neal, a great driver. A lap down right now, assuming maybe had an early incident. Also qualified towards the back of the field, but nonetheless, doing a good job keeping it clean. And that's half the battle sometimes here, as Medina Sr. lighting up the radio, me and Gene. I wonder if that, it looks like he's lapping a car, so he may be saying thank you to a lap car. But it is around that time where I think we're going to start seeing pit stops. I actually am seeing some cars rejoining the track right now.
It looks like the leaders are staying out a little bit harder. Yeah, Kevin Kyle going to be the first guy of significance really to come in. Other rookies, Michael Benton, the 985, really good on the radio, communicating when he's coming in and out. And then Simon Srigas, the 999. That is all of our rookies here running today. Welcome to the league, boys. Good to see you. Can't wait to see what you got going on for the rest of season 12.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much for joining us, making this field as big as it is, and putting on a show. As, yeah, I do think the cars we're definitely going to see pit first. Me and Gene, is that group of three we've been talking about. Kevin Kyle, David Owens, and Joseph Volpus. Those guys have six more laps on their tires than everyone else did. Owens still out here, as is Volpus, I believe. But Kevin Kyle, the first to bite and put fresh tires on that car. Let's see how that works for Kevin Kyle on the end of this, or on the other end of these pit stops. That could get Kyle into the top three.
Yep. Other activity, you can see some of the slower drivers as well coming in now. So you're, like you said, this pit stop's about to open wide open, and that is going to give these other guys the opportunity. Oh, there's somebody driving in reverse. Way to go, buddy.
Looks like that was Jared Rose. It's so easy to overshoot the pit stall here. It's a fast pit road. Happens quickly. Hey, and sometimes I had a race earlier this week, me and Gene, where my crew chief just didn't count me down. He just didn't feel like it. So just missed my stall entirely. I really appreciate that.
You need a crew chief like Gerald Rose's. I think I just saw him hand him a lighter. That might be an extended pit stop.
Yep, could be. I mean, might as well at that point, right?
Yeah, he is riding out of Alabama, so God knows what's happening down there.
And look at that, just going through every stall. Might as well.
He threw the lighter to the Jared Kelly's pit crew on the way out the window.
So he had to stay close. You're right. Here comes Owens. Here comes Owens into the pits. As we predicted, Owens, another one of those cars who came in on the earlier side of the last run, so in return going to have to come earlier on this side. But that was an overall gain for Owens. That definitely worked out for him. And we'll see how it works out again this time, as this should be the last run of the race.
Yeah, it's hard right here to decide. Do you want to push it or do you want to hold it as far as this final pit stop strategy, knowing you might get a few quicker laps, but since this is the last pit stop, those last 5 laps could be really interesting. Assuming it stays green, Zach. If it doesn't stay green, if we see some cautions, who knows how this thing could work out.
Yeah, that's really, really going to be what makes or breaks a lot of these guys this race, is the status of the caution and the green flag. If it stays the way it's been, it's going to be really, really hard to do anything about David Medina. All he's going to have to do is have a nice and quick pit stop and get into the pit lane clean, and he should be okay. But you're right, it is a really, really hard decision now. If you want to push it and get the most you can out of those fresh tires and really use that advantage the most you can and maximize it, or if you want to save it knowing that you're one of the guys that earlier on this cycle and that could come to bite you at the end of the race.
Wow, David Medina, though, he has just taken that thing around, and here it is. He's finally going to bring her down into the pits.
Yep, looks like Medina lighting up the radio, letting everybody know that he's coming in this time. You can see him slowing it down, keeping it to the bottom, nice and clean. So far, so good. Great job by David Medina to get it into the pits successfully. I hope I haven't called him Jose Medina too many times today. We have another guy named Jose Medina in our league, and I'm sure confusing that. But Medina doing an excellent job, and hopefully that last name doesn't carry the same luck that we see in the other league, right?
Oh, he's going to be fine, and that's going to rotate around, make Jason Landry now your leader. He is running out there, and maybe it's his time to think about. Looks like I see Jared Kelly perhaps coming into the pit now.
Yeah, so if you're Landry, and is he going to pit this time? So it looks like Kelly's going to come in, Landry's going to stay out. That's curious to me, Mean Gene. In my opinion, when you're racing someone like Medina, someone who already got by you on that run, and you were in second place, the second you see him come in, you should be coming in as well. You don't really want to mix that up too much. Maybe Landry feels like his best chance to win this race is by having fresher tires at the end, as I see him lighting up the radio right now. So I'm assuming this will be the time he comes in. Let's keep an eye on him here. Looks like he's keeping it to the bottom just like Medina did. Yep, it's going to be. And this looks like a less aggressive entry than Medina had. Medina seemed like he got brought in a little bit hotter and potentially got a little bit more time. We'll see when they cycle back through.
Yeah, no need to spin right now. That'd be a heck of a way to end your day. A lot of smoke in that pit stop. And Landry, yeah, no need to risk it.
No, especially when you're in second place. It's one of the worst things you can do is ruin a second place trying to go for a first place that may not even be achievable. You got to be disciplined here, and like we've talked about a million times, there is no winning in here, so a second place is a big deal.
Yeah, second place is a big deal, and falling to 18th place would be horrible. There's still a lot of laps, too, a lot of cars running out there. I only see a couple of guys that are a ton of laps down, that being Shrigus and White. But other than that, everybody else is within 5 laps. So if you have an incident, and there's an incident. Looks like Medina having a little bit of, not Medina, Mandela, right? Is that Mandela?
Yeah, Mandela stayed out. He was our leader, and looks like there was a little bit of trouble getting into the pits there. Let's take a look at that potentially, but that was likely a big moment for Mandela. It looked like he nosed it into the inside wall, and yeah, that's not where you want to hit, Mean Gene, in terms of where on the race car. That's likely engine damage, or if not engine damage, then definitely aero damage. That car will not be as fun to drive as it has been for the first 100 laps.
Well, at least he's in the right place to get it addressed, right?
Yeah, he is. At least he's there. Good point. Hopefully he didn't pick up a penalty. I doubt he did. It definitely seemed like he had it slowed down. So as long as there wasn't any pit entry penalty in terms of where he was, he should be okay.
Well, and that is going to bring us back to the leader, David Medina. Everybody has finally got those fresh tires. They got enough fuel. I think basically we're going to see this thing run out to the end. We're on lap 93 of 125.
And like we talked about, Medina did in fact do a great job being aggressive on entry, because that gave him an extra about, looks like to me, 2-second buffer on Landry. And that is why you kind of do risk it if you're the leader sometimes. If you're confident in yourself like Medina clearly is, we saw him go really hard into that pit entry, and he definitely got the reward for it. Now a nice lead for Medina, and yeah, we are definitely seeing a lot of spread out action as well here, Mean Gene. As every time there's one of these green flag cycles, this field gets more and more spread apart, to the point where it's kind of hard to believe there's 31 of these guys out here right now, because there is not a ton of side-by-side action.
Yeah, it's equally spread out. It kind of reminds me of the old NASCAR heat days when you're trying to run a qualifying session to figure out the starting order, and you're counting off. All these cars are equally separate around the track, but that 4-second gap right now by Medina right now is just looking pretty impressive. Jared Kelly a couple of seconds behind that. David Brenner a couple behind that, all the way back to Buddy Sully. So the gap is really starting to spread out, as we can see Medina just starting to exert his dominance on this field. Not only did he have the short speed to get his way up into the front through the pack, now we're seeing that long run ability of Medina starting to pay off. We're at lap 99, 26 laps to go, and right now that number 9 Focum car is just looking tough.
Yeah, he has all the way up to 13th place a lap down. That is putting a beating on the field, to put it lightly. That is just a crazy amount of speed, especially at a track like this. We talked a lot about how it can get hard, or it can be hard to get spread apart and really get any meaningful leads or gaps. Not if you're David Medina. My goodness, the amount of speed he's had in that car. And it hasn't mattered how many laps are on the tires, what part of the run it is. That number 9 car has just been on rails.
Yeah, coming up on a little bit more lap traffic. I think that's pretty much all you're going to run into at this point, is more and more lap traffic, as Medina just putting down these fire laps. Landry would love to put his nose into it, but just overcoming that gap. It's going to have to be something special. And who knows, maybe one of these lap cars will get in the way of Medina. But the way the radio's been used today, not going to be surprised if I hear these guys just get out of the way, cost themselves speed to make sure that their name is not mentioned in the end of race report.
Yeah, you definitely, I think we'll probably see, especially this late in the race, a lot of respectful lap cars. The only problem is, like we talked about, or like we just said, he has lapped up to 14th place, so 13th to be next. And what that means is when you start lapping deep in the field, or that deep in the field, me and Gene, you're lapping fast cars. This is 13th place. That is no slouch at all. So it does get more and more difficult to lap these cars. So you definitely are hoping that they're going to be courteous for you. But like we also talked about earlier, they have every right to run their own race. So if they're battling for 12th, which is an important spot, if you're in 13th and 12th, that's a good race. They are not going to pull over for you. They are in the middle of a good race. You know what I mean?
You don't want to go a lap down. I mean, especially if you're fighting to stay on that lead lap. Why would you just give it up? Now, if you're 2-3 laps down right there, you can see Gerald Rose going 3 laps down to the leader. Yeah, that guy needs to get out of the way. But if you're looking at some of these other drivers that are still trying to fight on the lead lap, you're talking about a Joe Volpus. You're talking about those guys, Nate Maurer, Zach Engel. Well, they might fight back a little bit harder. So that will be interesting to see. But that pack of wolves right there, that could be something that develops right there, what we're looking at right now, Zach.
Yeah, definitely can. That is definitely the most intense racing on the track right now, right there with, I believe that's Engel. Yes, it is. Engel, Markley, and Volpus right here under a little umbrella. And you also do have our leader catching up to them. So we'll be interested to see if they can figure this out, and if Medina is able to get to him. It's not far. But yeah, you did see Gerald Rose do a great job moving over. You saw the radio communications as well. You saw Rose tell him where he's going, and then you heard Medina say thank you. So perfect execution there, and Medina, I'm sure, hoping that that's what this rest of this race is composed of. And I'm sure he's really praying at this point, just stay green, please. He does not want to bunch his field back up.
855 all over the place now coming out of turn 4.
Ooh. Big moment there.
An exciting piece of action. He about swerved up into traffic.
Almost put the announcer jinx on that one and brought a yellow out myself, didn't I?
Yeah. You can see right there, hit that bump.
That bump
really exciting moment.
That bump is evil, Mean Gene, and especially at this point in the run, it will get you because your tires are not entirely beneath you and you don't really have the line flexibility you had earlier. It can sneak up on you. And it looks like, oh, Rose again. Will he gather it up, or will we get the caution? That's a good piece of driving to gather it up. That was a big moment.
I can hear the screaming. Sounds like R2-D2 in the back of an X-Wing.
Yeah, it does. It does. But hey, he gathered it up, no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that's one of those deals where if you're the guy in the back, you start to think, why not go get more tires? I'm already 3 laps down.
Might as well.
Why don't I just get another set? I got 2 more pairs.
Yep. Probably need another set of something else, too.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that lighter's wearing off.
Could be that,
wow,
too.
Look at the gap just continuing to spread out. Medina just laying it down the law.
Yeah, wow. That is a massive gap, Gene. Again, cannot say enough about how difficult that is to do at a track like this. That is just so impressive. And he's just glued to the bottom of the racetrack, which just means that car is handling essentially exactly how he wants it to. Just on rails, like I said earlier. Just look at how easy of a time he is having getting this thing around this racetrack. Just absolutely seamless.
Who's that? Was that Joe Volpus? He just put a lap down?
Believe so, or that was Volpus. He did just put a lap down. Volpus giving him all the room in the world, being a gentleman.
Wow, so that means up to 12th?
12th, all the way up to 12th. He may lap into the top 10, Mean Gene. That is wild.
You can see Malarkey right there. He's in a battle with Maurer. They're starting to worry. They could probably hear the footsteps.
Yep, the Jaws, cue the Jaws music. You can absolutely hear it, and it's definitely giving some urgency to these guys as you're looking. We may get a 3-wide situation here. Oh man, this is exactly what the 9 doesn't want to see. But these guys racing for a top 10 spot.
Yeah, this is exactly the scenario we were talking about. I mean, I'm racing for a top 10 spot, and I'm trying to. Hello. That's Dennis right there. He's having a good time.
Yes, doing his second round of lawn mowing for the day, but doing a great job just like he did first time. And again, kept it straight. Everyone who's had that incident today has kept it straight and not brought out a yellow flag.
Yeah, as somebody who's done it, I know you just downshift and keep it going.
That was right in front of Medina, Mean Gene. That was right in front of Medina. Oh, that is not what you want to see if you're the leader of this race.
All right, so we're back on the straight and narrow right now. And just as we said, look at that little bit of pit activity. The 855 on the radio talking about he is going to bring it in, and why not?
He's had enough. He has had enough. He's already on the bottom of the apron. He's like, nope, I'm done with these tires. And look at that Tokyo drift action as well. If that will give you a hint of what he's dealing with inside that race car. But hey, gets it in the pit successfully to go get some Mr. Feelgoods on that thing.
Hey, you're 4 laps. You're 4 laps down. The guy in front of you is 2 laps down. The guy behind you is 6 laps down. Why not? What's the difference?
Exactly.
Yeah. Just don't wreck anybody, buddy.
Just keeps it makes it a lot more enjoyable too. Might as well, if you have those tires, put them on. Why not? Like you said, you're in that lap situation. Totally agree.
Hey, and if there's a pit, you can stay out. You get a wave around.
True, that too. So if we get that yellow, that would get you that wave around, because undoubtedly everyone would want 4 fresh ones at this point in the run, with only 14 to go here, and Medina just hoping that he can hold on and stay green with tons of action in front of him. He's just starting to get closer to that group in front of him.
Yeah, that battle right there, that's what I'm really starting to wonder. Could something happen there? The tires are wearing out. The drivers are getting tired. I mean, we're coming to the end of a 125-lap race. What exactly is going to come? This is the moment where somebody could just plow right up the track, right when your car gets a little bit loose and cuts down. So things could start happening here in these closing laps. And it would all happen right in front of our leader, Medina. So he's got to keep his eyes wide open. There's no relaxing. You might not be looking behind you out of fear, but you need to be looking in front of you, because any little slip up by those drivers could suddenly put you right on edge.
Yeah, head on a swivel right now, and you're right. You're not necessarily looking behind you anymore, but you're for sure looking in front of you and all around you, just making sure if there is any action in the track that you're not a part of it. No fast repairs here, so you cannot afford any damage at this point in the race. Only 12 to go. But man, like if you're looking at guys like Zach Engel and everything, there's still lots of action. Yep, there it is right there. They were just side by side. Still a lot to play for here.
Ooh, look at that excitement right there. All right, so here comes that 855. That fella just put new tires on that car. I'm going to be curious to see exactly how he's going to be handling it thing on fresher tires.
Yeah, you feel like a superhero at this point, don't you? When everyone around you has 30 laps on their tires and you have 1. So
look behind him. There is another fast car. What is that, the 33?
Yeah, and that's a big moment there. The 33 with a nice move to split the gap. A lot of things happening at once there, and they are able to negotiate it. Woo, that was close.
Well, if I'm Malarkey, I'm terrified. I'm like, guys, I'm in 11th. What are you doing? Leave me out of it.
Exactly. You're like, guys, I'm just trying to run my own race. I'm happy with where I am. Please, no, not now.
Yeah. And he did. He let those guys go right on by. He's back into his position. That's an exciting moment right there for Justin Malarkey, holding on to 11th place.
Yup. As here we are taking a look at Brenner and Sally battling now for the 4th place. Sally doing a great job protecting those tires. Brenner all day we've seen kind of struggling on the tail end of these runs, Mean Gene. He hasn't had the same speed as like Jared Kelly in front of him as we get to this point in the run. So not super surprising to see Sally able to close that gap, and we'll see if he's able to take away that 4th place spot.
Good race right here between these two guys. And you're right about that being one arm. I think I see Buddy with the one arm over the passenger side seat, just kind of driving one arm in it.
Oh, yeah, as he always does. I mean, that could have something to do with the shoulder injury as well. But nonetheless, Buddy Sally looking nice and chill there. That car does look very, very negotiable around the track, very flexible. Looks like he still has plenty of tires underneath that thing to try to put some pressure on Brenner and take away that spot. With only 8 laps to do it, though.
Let's kick it down to Mandela and Tommy Fox for a second. Haven't got to talk about Fox. He's running in 17th right now. I want to see how close that battle is. Fox is running in that 57 Pennzoil scheme right there.
Yes, he is. He's doing a good job as well. Tommy Fox has just had a good, clean race today. I mean, everyone essentially has, for the most part.
He was in the back. He started, 28th?
Yeah, somewhere around there, and has just done a great job working his way through the field through this race where really you didn't have any opportunities to have mistakes kind of I really you couldn't afford mistakes, I should say. There was no yellows as we're coming to the end of this race now with only 7 to go. So it's so impressive when you can see someone like Fox that made his way through the field, because you really didn't have an opportunity to mess up here. So much execution, especially with those green flag pit stops. Those are not easy to do over and over again, Mean Gene. So very, very impressive.
Yeah, great run by him. Malarkey also improving 11 positions. But how about Nate Maurer? 17 spots. That is really impressive to see Nate. He jumped up 17 spots, currently running in that 10th position. Top 10 for Nate, his first race back. Right ahead of him, Nick Mills is in 9th place. He improved 6th position. That's a guy we haven't talked about a lot today. He's just had a patient ride, I think, making the right decisions to pilot himself up.
Yeah, he has. Just a lot of responsible driving. Maurer as well. Wow, 17 spots on the lead lap, it appears. Just doing a phenomenal job. A lot of great execution from a lot of the drivers in the field here. And yeah, if you're in this top 10 or top 12, it's because you essentially didn't make a mistake today. So great job by those guys. And you really are seeing the cream rise to the top in this top 12 here. A lot of talented drivers. Kevin Kyle and David Owens also being the guys who came in early on those pit stops. Definitely working out for them in the long run. Right now sitting in 6th and 7th place. So those guys did a great job holding onto their tires and working with the strategy they chose early in the race.
Oh, nice move right here by Smurrell. Smurrell had a great week last week. He finished 2nd. He'd love to compound that finish with another top 10. Currently, he's battling, and he's going to take that 7th place away from Kevin Kyle. Good run.
Yeah, Smora looking to the inside of Kevin Kyle. Looks like he has a little bit fresher tires, so he should be able to complete this pass. One of the few battles left on this track right now. There's only 3 to go for Medina, and he has just had a fantastic drive today. Just has not put a foot wrong, and he is just rolling in the rewards for all of that. What a great job by him so far. As you can see, 2 to go, which means he only needs 1 more clean lap, and the next flag will end it.
We haven't seen any of those flags, right? I mean, what do we see? A green, and now we're waiting for the second flag, which will be a white.
Pretty amazing. 125 laps at a track like this with no yellows is, I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen anything like it, especially with this field size. Cannot say it enough. That is so impressive by this entire field.
Gave us a chance to meet some of our rookies. That was fun.
Yeah, we had time to talk about a lot of guys, a lot of different stories, get to know a lot of the new guys in this league. As here we go, white flag for David Medina, as he has a lap car in front of him, but probably, I mean, with the gap he has, no incentive to get past that car. Probably just cruise behind him and get nice and easy to his first win of the season.
Yeah,
Can't deny this week, can you?
No, he's a gentleman. He's not going to put you another lap down. Oh, he's threatening, but he ain't going to do it. Letting you know he could.
Showing that nose. And here we go, around 3 and 4 for the final time. David Medina had an exceptional drive last week. Was able to get it. Cannot be denied this week. Medina takes it home at Vegas, and Landry 2nd place.
Wow, Jared Kelly going to finish 3rd, and we're going to see David Brenner come 4th, and Buddy Sully, that is going to be your top 5. Wow, great run by Medina and Landry. Those 2 guys really making up for last week.
Yeah, Medina especially. We said to look out for him in that when a driver feels like they had a win and taken away from them, they come back with a vengeance, and that's exactly what happened. Great job by him, and made sure that nothing go wrong on this one. And there was plenty of opportunities for this one to get taken away from him. With how many green flag pit stops he had to execute, didn't matter. He did not put a foot wrong.
Really, really exciting, all things considered. No cautions. And seeing those penalties in the pit stops affect some of the drivers, and a lot of lawn care done.
A lot of lawn care. I think the staff here at Vegas is going to really appreciate a few of our drivers for helping out with the lawn care, because it's been very well maintained. But yeah, no one facing the wrong direction at any point in this race to bring out a yellow, which just made this race just play out very, very naturally. Made it have tons of integrity, lots of fun. And these are the wins. If you're Dave Medina, you can take so much pride in it, because there's what do you want to call it? Tomfoolery or shenanigans had to lead to this win. It was just straight up dominance.
10 cars going to finish on the lead lap, but they were in danger. Nate Maurer and Nick Mills were barely ahead when they crossed. Jason Landry did close that gap, 1.5 seconds behind, so good for him to make it that close. But then after that, look at that, Jared Kelly, 6.6 back, and then you fall all the way back to Brenner and Sully, 12 seconds back for fourth and fifth. David Medina, he just laid it down here today, showing that 18th place was the anomaly.
That's insane.
What a
Lapping up to
statement.
10th
That's a
is
statement.
It really is. Lapping up to 10th is insane. Oh my gosh. And then if you look at those gaps, 31 seconds and 30 seconds. These are about 32-second laps. So he was there. It was almost lapped up to 8th. So gosh, that's so impressive, especially considering who he was getting ready to lap. Such fast drivers. As we look at our top 10, all such good drivers. And it's really shaping up already, Mean Gene, to be a great points battle to see who gets to make the postseason here.
Yeah, again, no win and you're in. So it really turns into how consistent can you be. So that 18th place last week is going to hurt Medina. But overall, you look at what kind of points that they're putting together, and Medina is going to just jump right back up in the points. So Jared Kelly, are we showing that stat?
Yeah, he is. And there we are. Jared Kelly looks like he's going to hold on to the lead from what I can read there. And then, it looks like it's going to be Brenner. And but what I'm seeing is it's very, very tight already. Obviously only 2 races, so it's going to stay tight for a little bit, but so many fast drivers in this league and so much parity. It's going to take a while for us to have a clear picture on who's going to go to our postseason.
Yeah, and especially with that, you get to drop the bad one. Only nine races. There's 10 regular season races, but Kevin Kyle is going to implement a drop your worst finish, so you can miss one race for family affairs or because you had a bad finish. So that 18th place, I might propose that could be Medina's worst finish of the year.
Wouldn't be surprising, right? Unless he misses one, that would not be surprising. Could be just a matter of someone like him showing up to every race and he can get rid of that 18th and come out of here with an average finish somewhere in the single digits with how much speed he showed today. So I think a lot of it as well will be just a matter of making sure that you're always here, always present, because as much as it is nice to have that drop race to miss a race, it's even better when you can use it for something like an 18th place finish.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't like road courses. Maybe he'll take one of those off.
Maybe it will be something like that.
Wow. Still, what a heck of a day here, Vegas. Race 2 of 10 in our regular season. And we just saw the domination of Brenner. Next week at Phoenix, that's a little bit different of a track, right?
Yeah, much more technical, obviously a much shorter track, and we're probably going to see not as clean of a race, I'm going to go ahead and assume, especially if we get that same field size, which I'm assuming we will. Phoenix is always a great time, though. With that dog leg, you can see 5, 6 wide even going into 1 and 2 there. The restarts are always a great time, and it's definitely one of those tracks where you definitely see the cream rise to the top quickly because it's very technical, and it'll be really fun to see who brings their A game to that one.
Well, and to see who's going to benefit from maybe some cautions. Those guys that started in the back, there were a few fellas that didn't qualify. I bet they were guessing there'd be some wrecks. That just did not seem to work out.
Yeah, oftentimes at a track like Vegas, you do not qualify, just saying, let me not be part of that first wreck. Probably get it, maybe in 10 free spots that way and still have a clean car. And then today happens and it stays green the whole time and you spend the whole race battling back. Someone like Jared Kelly kind of had that situation, but didn't affect him. He was able to get the top 3. But other people that didn't qualify as well as they probably would have liked, someone like Joey Stiers, only able to get the 15th. So, wow. Yeah. I can't say I wouldn't have done that in terms of not qualifying. I totally see why you'd want to do that with a field size like this. Just amazing that these guys kept it clean.
Well, pretty exciting racing, especially once those tires started to wear out. But my takeaway from this thing, Zach, is just the dominance of the powerful drivers. You could definitely see, as you like to say, that cream rise to the top. And we're going to see if they can continue to exert their dominance over this field. We're going to see if some of those faster rookies can make their way up. Nate Maurer, he chooses to run that 900 number, but he's not really a rookie. And I think he's a guy that as we see him get more accustomed to the next gen cars, we're going to just see him push up further in position. And Gulf Coast Racing, you know, they made their mark here today as well, seeing those finishes of Brenner in 4th, David Owens in 6th, and Vulpes a little wiggly with that thing 14th. I did get to talk to Joe a little bit. I heard on the radio he had a really good second run when he did that quick pit, that early stop, but just didn't like the way his car was handling for the rest of the race. So something that he can look at. Maybe he can put a little extra work in going into Phoenix, and then maybe get all those Gulf Coast guys up into the top 10.
Yeah, I think we definitely saw who our heavy hitters are going to be all season today. That entire top 10 are cars I'm keeping a close eye on for the rest of the season. And then all the guys that we see scattered throughout our field, there's tons of speed throughout this field. A lot of guys didn't have the day that I think they thought they would, or maybe had an incident and never had that caution to help them get recovered from it. So still a lot to play for. And yeah, a lot of teams as well that clearly brought their A game and clearly have a great plan and a roster that's just absolutely stacked. So that's going to be really fun to watch as the season progresses. A lot to play for, and a lot, I can't say enough, a lot of parity. But we really got a clue to who to look for today. A race like today where it's no nonsense and you really just got to execute. We saw a lot of drivers put together a really impressive race.
And I'm going to keep an eye on that Rookie of the Year battle. I think Zach Engel and Ricky Mandela, those two guys, that's going to be fun to watch as this thing continues. Stephen Neal going to get an honorable mention for that, but you know, that's another thing for us to keep an eye on, is just to see how these rookies kind of battle out. Zach's quick, man. That guy finished 12th today.
Yeah, great job from Engel, and I know he started towards the back of the field too, so he did a great job working through the field. And that Rookie of the Year is going to be a really fun battle to cover. A lot of those guys are super fast, and they're only going to get better as they get more comfortable in this league and more comfortable in this car and racing around these guys. So that's going to be super fun to watch them progress and see where they end up as we get later in the season. But no slouches whatsoever. Just because they're rookies in this league, they're by no means rookies to sim racing and this sport. So they showed that today.
Yeah, I liked it. And Mandela, 16th, if he hadn't hit that wall on that late, you know, that pit stop on those older tires, who knows? That guy could have been a little further up there too. So we'll keep an eye going into Phoenix exactly how that's going to work. I think a lot of guys we didn't get to talk about enough. You know, Nick Mills, hell of a run, 9th. I didn't get to talk about him very much. Jake Shea, you know, Jake's a veteran. I run with him on Fridays also. So a lot of guys in this field, big field, Zach. Going to be interesting to see going into next week, that little more technical track. Hope we get these numbers again.
Yeah, huge field, and I'm excited to get to know all these guys, to get to know their driving style, and watch them throughout the season. But yeah, lots of guys that we did not get to as much as we should today. But hey, that's why we have a full season to do that. So keep showing up, guys. Keep stacking up this field, and we'll make sure we cover everyone here and get to know everyone as a driver and watch them do their thing. Because yeah, this league is top to bottom filled with talented drivers who can get the job done. I mean, yeah, I'm going through the standings right now. Thomas Pierre's, that guy was doing great in the run, just ran into some misfortunes. So, wow, there's going to be a lot. I'm going to go ahead and make this prediction right here, unless David Medina comes out and does what he does what he did today every week. I think we're going to have a lot of winners this year.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys that can put their mark on this race, on this league as well moving forward. It's going to be neat to identify who is the specialty drivers. You know, once we get onto a road course or specific short tracks with the varied banking or even the flat turns too, tracks like Martinsville.
Even next week, I think we'll see some of that next week at Phoenix. It's definitely a flat track, but also demands a lot of different parts of your skill set in terms of braking, throttle control, being really gentle on the throttle out of 2 there. And then also you really got to save your tires there. So we're going to see a lot of different skill sets, like you said, expose themselves. And I think next week will be a great indication of that.
Yeah, better figure out that brake bias, boys, because sometimes it goes straight and sometimes it slides on all 4s, and you don't have any control there 10 laps into it.
True that.
Yeah, well, man, great race. Thanks for having me along today.
Oh, thank you so much, Mean Gene. I had a great time. I can't wait to be back here next week. Super excited for season 12 of the Bonfire Racing League. Thank you again to Focum Racing for the generous sponsorship. Super appreciate it getting us here to do what we're doing, and we're having the best time. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be an amazing season. So thank you guys all for joining us so much. It was a great time, Mean Gene.
A great time for me too, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, signing off for today from Las Vegas, David Medina is your winner. Congratulations, man. And we will see you all next Sunday at the Bonfire Racing League. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great day.